while growing up, I remember my dad telling me, open this hot pot. And I was like, it's going to burn me. He said, no, as a woman, you're not supposed to feel the heat. Wow. I grew up with that notion, thinking my hands are supernatural.
You know, the woman is the emotionally inclined one compared to the man. She forms that, she's strong. We're strong, but the truth is there's a limit to everything.
Do women feel guilty sometimes for needing help?
I don't want to be looked down on like I'm a weak woman. So I try to hide my pain, and then I come out all smiley and then looking like everything is okay with me.
They should be taking us out every day with all these things we are going through.
What happens to the woman when she begins to pour from an empty cup?
Her spouse or her husband would not even know how to approach her.
God told me something. He said, see, your husband is not your source, I am.
And then the Holy Spirit said, what do you think the devil comes to steal? I said, steals money, he steals your prosperity, whatever you believe. And he said, no, your identity.
The best person that can understand a woman is a woman. Quote me anywhere.
I had friends in my choir who said, Mercy, I would like to be like you. I would like to have the kind of home you have, not knowing there's fire on the mountain. I am actually burning. And I'll say, be careful on what you wish.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Stand in the Gap. My name is Joanne Esekile, and I am honored to be your host. So now, Stand in the Gap was birthed from a place of burden and a calling. You know, a desire to create a community for women, so that they can feel seen, they can feel loved, where they have support, where they have encouragement, where they can grow spiritually, financially, emotionally, while doing life responsible, while taking life's responsibility, right? So the desire is to create a community where women come together and, feel seen, feel loved, feel heard. So that is what Stand in the Gap is all about. And so today we are here to discuss some of the things that women face every day, while we take up our responsibility as women. So with me in the studio today, to my right, is Mrs. Mercy Solomon, and to my left is Mrs. Agogo Omolebe. Thank you so much for joining me today on today's episode. So today's topic is who is pouring into the woman. Now I say who is pouring into the woman because I have come to understand that as women, we carry so much. Women are often seen as, nurturers. We are the caregivers, we try to build our homes, we take care of our children for those that are married, we have husbands, we have families, we have our own career, for some of us, on the level of professionalism, they've pursued their professional careers, they have extended family, they have so much. And I feel like this is already so much, a burden. And in this present generation, being a woman is hard because you are trying to keep up every day. You are not trying to lose yourself in the process of being who you are, So we're going to be looking at who is pouring into the woman whilst she's being everything to everybody. Who is looking at her? Who is hearing her? Who is seeing beyond the smiles, So my very first question I'll throw to you, Mrs. Mercy. When you hear the phrase, who is pouring into the woman, what comes to mind? What comes to your mind?
Thank you very much for that question. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is nobody. The woman is seen as expected to be a strong person, carry all the burden alone and being neglected. Do you understand? And I also want to say the woman doesn't just entail the married woman only. There are a lot of single mothers out there who are carrying a whole lot of burden and nobody who looks at them or asks them what's happening in your life, how are you keeping up and all that. So I don't think anybody, if I would just want to say that, nobody, we're just left like that.
Okay. Mrs. Awogo, can I have your take on what comes to your mind when you hear who is pouring into the woman, knowing that we are so much to everybody?
Well, I think you've already buttressed some things, so it goes without saying that the woman is, maybe because she's the multitasking person that she is, the woman is almost everywhere at every time. And what comes to mind when I hear who is pointing to the woman is maybe almost like what she said. I'm tempted not to, but I'm almost agreeing with her. That's because I know that a lot of women are just so used to taking care of everything and everyone else and not taking care of themselves. I don't think it would be out of place to say the woman should be pouring into herself. So that's because at the end of the day, it has to come from a place where she realizes and understands that she's all these things to all these people, but if she doesn't take care of herself, then she won't be eventually able to take care of all these people. So what comes to my mind is the multitasking woman, really. When I think of that phrase of who is pouring into the woman, most of the time she is neglected. So that's what comes to mind, multitasking woman. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, you said a woman is a multitasking woman. That will lead me to my next question. Why do women feel the need to always be strong? Why do we feel the need to always, we can't be seen weak? Why, what's...
I think that somehow there is some pressure from society. Yes, I'll say that because more so in these times we live, this is the AI generation. And I don't even know why AI has not helped the woman to solve all these multitasking things, right? It's just coming to mind. But this is the fast-paced generation. And now we find that there's added pressure, besides all the things you said, and we've talked about her, being a multitasking woman. There is even the pressure to be technically competent now with the fast generation we are in. So the pressure, I would say, comes from outside. It definitely doesn't come from within. I think it comes from the society the woman finds herself. I think that is where this pressure to constantly be up and doing, comes from. That's what I think. I think it comes from the society, from the place the woman finds herself. Yeah.
Okay, so the society makes us to always feel strong.
Yes, because there's the place of the father, there's the place of the man in the family, but there's just that innate nature in the woman. There is, the way you mentioned she's a nurturer. There's that innate, thing in her to be able to do almost everything at once. We're back again to the multitasking. So it's not that the society makes her to be strong, but the society just expects her to be that way, and she doesn't want to fall the hand and hair of the society. So it's the expectations, the pressures that, just bring out that part of her that says, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Oh, I don't want to let anybody down. The woman is the emotionally inclined one compared to the man. So with all this happening around, the woman just wants to be able to keep up with the pace of things happening around her. So she forms that, oh, she's strong. We're strong, but the truth is there's a limit to everything. There's a limit to everything.
Okay, Mrs. Mercy, can I get your own opinion as to why do women feel the need to always be strong, even knowing that, when you feel like you are drowning, in whatever responsibility that you're handling, why do you still feel the need to always show up strong?
I'll actually agree with what she said, the society, and I want to break it down, family and tradition, because it's been passed down to the woman. Coming from a family, you see a lot of talks, a lot of things being said. As a woman, this is how you ought to be. You can't. In fact, I think while growing up, I remember my dad telling me, open this hot pot. And I was like, it's going to burn me. He said, no, as a woman, you're not supposed to feel the heat.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? So, do you understand?
Yeah.
So, forgetting the fact that I'm also human.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But I have feelings too. But why is it the boys in the house are not told to open the hot pot without using something, but I'm being told to open the hot pot? And I grew up with that notion, thinking my hands are supernatural. You understand? So with that notion, it gives me that strength. I cannot fall my hand, just like she said, I cannot fall my family's hand. I cannot fall the society in which I find myself. And, you know, tradition too. They expect you, as a woman, you're not supposed to be like this. You're not supposed to be like that. And sometimes even the spouse you get married to puts a whole lot of pressure on you. You understand? So we don't want to feel less of ourselves. Find in the just like she said, in the situation of the community or the society we find ourselves. So we always want to be that.
So the need to always show up strong comes from the society that we found ourselves. Comes from, you know,
tradition and also family.
And family.
Yes.
Okay. So now let me ask this question. Do women feel guilty sometimes for needing help?
Yeah.
Do we feel guilty when we seek for help? Do we feel guilty, or do we feel like we're doing something wrong for seeking for help?
I will say yes. I will say yes.
Give us reasons.
I will say yes because we, like you said earlier, you said we're nurturers. That's our makeup as a woman. So when you're asked, you feel down, you feel weak, you don't want to ask for help because you just have that pressure in you that I can do it. You have the build-up, the mindset, the society. If I go and ask for help, what would they say? They will laugh at me. I've been there myself. I have experienced it myself. So there are times I've been down. I felt like nothing good can come out of me. Can I do this? And I know within me that I need this help. I know that I need help. I know I need to talk to somebody, but I don't want to be looked down on like I'm a weak woman. You understand? So I try to hide my pain, and then I come out all smiley and then looking like everything is okay with me. You understand? So we sometimes feel guilty, which is not supposed to be because we are human.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. We actually shouldn't feel guilty. But I mean, we mentioned that there are pressures from society and tradition. But so because of that, actually, we find ourselves feeling guilty. Meanwhile, we should, what they say is cut ourselves some slack, you know, and give ourselves benefit of doubt too. Once in a while, just let our guards down. Women are emotionally inclined, like I had mentioned earlier. So it's just so easy to be able to have it in your mind that, like you said, I'm drowning, but, I can still take this on until, we stretch it to whatever limit there is. But yes, we feel guilty, but I don't think we should be feeling guilty. I think that with everything a woman represents and everything a woman goes through, being a woman, now this is not disregarding the male gender, I'm just saying being the woman, there are just a lot of things, like I hear a lot of health scares these days, Men have their share, but when I hear the ones of women, maybe because I'm a woman, I relate and I'm like, they should be taking us out every day with all these things we are going through. There's this hormonal imbalance, there's emotional this, just a lot of things that go on in the body of the woman, So, yes, we feel guilty, but I think that we should move away from that and feel less guilty.
Okay, so meaning it's okay to feel guilty.
Yeah,
but but don't remain there. Don't feel guilty, and remain there. But just know that whatever situation that you're in, so it's not peculiar to just you, because some women feel like, this thing is just them. So that's why they are not able to speak out, because fear of, if I speak out, I will be seen as weak. Forgetting that you're not alone in this. There are a lot of women like you going through the same situation as you. Yeah. Okay, so now this leads me to my next question. And it's what happens to a woman when she continues pouring and giving so much of herself? So she's pouring into her kids, she's pouring into her husband, for those women that are married, for those women that have children. You know, they are pouring so much into their career, their businesses. Women are entrepreneurs, they are everywhere doing everything. What happens to the woman when she begins to pour from an empty cup?
I think that she will get lost in the process. I think she will lose herself in the process, because it's so easy to keep on going, doing what you're used to for several reasons, and you don't even realize, you know, that you haven't taken care of yourself. So I think that a woman who continues to do that without pausing to reflect and pausing to assess, you know, the things she has done, how she has done them, where she's coming from, how she even got the strength to be where she is, I think that that kind of person will eventually break down and lose herself in the process. And that is happening to a lot of women. So I'm glad that this podcast is going out there, really, because it's happening to a lot of women, but people are not speaking up. So I'm really glad that a podcast like this is going to be everywhere, so that people can see and know, just like you said, that they're not alone. They're not alone. A lot of us are under this kind of pressure. A lot of us have experienced time and time again at different phases of one's life. I mean, a woman is pregnant, she has her challenges. A woman is a first-time mom, she has her challenges. She, you know, starts using birth control measures and hormonal challenges. You know, she goes into, she's done having children, and the children have grown, and there's the emptiness syndrome, where it's just you and your husband, and you are wondering, okay, it's not like it used to be before. You know, there's the midlife crisis, there's the menopause, you know, there's the grandma stage. So, I mean, women are going through a lot. And with all this ahead of one in life, I think a podcast like this is throwing to light that women need to pause once in a while, so that they don't get to a point where they lose themselves.
Okay, so let me hear your thought on this, Mrs. Mercy. What happens to the woman, you know, when she begins to pour from an empty cup?
Well, the first thing I'll say is she'll burn out. You can't give what you don't have. You understand? So a lot of things will go wrong. Relationship will suffer. That same children, or those same children she's actually fighting for, the same family she's trying to, you know, build, will also go down. And in that process, she will lose herself. Like she said, she will not even fulfill purpose. Because a woman who is pouring from an empty cup is already, you know, when you say empty, there's nothing there now. There's nothing there. That person is already exhausted and even giving up. I can relate with what you're saying, because I'm coming from that place. You understand? So at some point, some years back, let me say 3 years ago, you know, I was in that state, and I felt there was nothing good that could come out of me. I had given up. I remember when my younger ones would call me and say, sister, this is what I'm doing, and I say, don't worry, just pray. I'm praying for you, so that your destiny would go well, everything will go well. Now, at this rate, I wasn't looking at myself anymore, because I felt there was nothing good that could come out from me at this point. So, for me, I would say nothing will work out. Nothing. If a woman is coming from an empty space, pouring from an empty place, nothing good can come out. She will lose herself. She will lose her children, because at some point she will even become resentful. You understand? Because you want to approach her. She's coming from a point of anger. Her spouse or her husband would not even know how to approach her, because you're coming to her, hi baby. What's baby about it? What? Do you understand? What are you saying? And everything starts to irritate you, not knowing. It takes a very sensible person, a spiritually sound person who will get to understand, or somebody who have been there to understand, okay, this is where this woman is coming from. Some people can even, then the society labels you as a sadist. Do you understand? So it's a whole lot will just go down. A whole lot. If a woman is coming from an empty space, a whole lot will go down.
Okay, so what I'm understanding from, what I'm gathering from what you're saying is, when you are empty, you can't give anything.
You can't give anything.
So in all you're trying to build your career, your family, you know, everything, try not to be worn out. Like try not to be empty.
Yeah.
Because at the end you will lose everything that you're trying to build together. Okay. Oh, that's good. So now let me ask this question.
Okay.
Why are emotionally over, or how will I put this question? Why are women that are emotionally worn out, why are they overlooked? Who wants to? Let me ask you.
Okay.
Like women are emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
Why are they overlooked? Why don't we pay more attention to those kind of women?
Okay, first off, emotions are not what you can see. And women are very good at masking up emotions, sucking it up. Society, tradition, we've talked about that. So I think that a lot of times it actually is, it's not because it's not visible. You find that eventually the woman is overlooked. And when she bottles it up, it's those who are in her immediate surroundings. If you're married, it's your spouse. If it's your siblings that are around you, it's your parents around you, they get the brunt of it because you've been bottling it up and all of a sudden you just, in quotes, exploded. So I think it's because it's hard to see. And in as much as women are emotional beings, they don't always express that side of them that says, I've had it, I'm fed up, I'm not able to contain this right now, I need some space right now. So I think it's because women don't voice out. Simply put, they don't voice out to say, oh, I think this is enough, or I can't take this any longer. And because of that, you find that they are overlooked because people don't know that's what they're going through.
Okay, so because people don't know that's what they are going through.
Yeah, because they don't voice out.
Okay, so when we as women, when we begin to voice out,
Yes,
we would be looked into. People would now pay more attention to us. Okay. Can you share your opinion on?
Okay. Yeah, I agree with her. A lot of women don't voice out. Just like, I think the first question, why we feel guilty to speak up. You understand? That guilt is eating a whole lot of women out there. Yeah. You understand? So the society, well, I'll still throw it out there, the society, the tradition tend to say, you are not supposed to be like this. You are not supposed, they give us the rules and we play the card. We play the rules, we play it. When they give us the script, we're expected to play it, read and play. Just give it as it's been given to you. Don't add and don't reduce. That is what the society expects from us. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that there are a lot of women right now that are having identity challenges, you know, and that's because, like you mentioned, midlife crisis, right? And for some women that have poured so much, you know, into whatever responsibility at the time. Now, for example, I'm going to say motherhood. We already know that motherhood is a lot. That's a whole lot. I mean, it's an additional whole lot. Okay.
There's a lot to do.
So when you as a woman and now as a mother have poured so much into raising the kids, what's left for the woman? How can she find herself back to the place where she was before? It's okay to pour into the kids, into the family, right? But how do we come back to finding ourselves?
Okay. Let me first start off from the woman being an individual. The truth is, as human beings, we're made by God and God is our source. So the truth is, either ways, we always have to find our way back to God because He's our source. I recall vividly when I had my first child, I had left my previous job because, excuse me, I didn't get a relocation offer to be able to go and stay with my husband. So I was at home for a while, not working. And it just turned out that I discovered I was always waiting for my husband to come home. and I started tying my happiness to my husband. Okay, for me, it became too much until my husband got posted out of where we were, and he was going to be away for a longer time than I was used to as a new wife, a new mom. And that was when I just went back to the Bible, basically, because I just told God, I said, I'm stuck. Oh. I'm so used to depending on him. But when I got, studying and I got reflective, I paused and I told myself, okay, I can't keep doing the same thing. The person I was looking up to is not always around. What's my purpose? I'm just trying to say that before you get into a relationship, before you get married, before you become who you're going to become, you need to always look inward. You need to always look inward. And it's so important that I'm happy these days, you find a lot of ladies, nobody wants to, I don't think there's any housewife again in, in our times. Yeah, nobody's a housewife. Everybody wants to be labeled as, oh, I'm doing something. And not just they want to be labeled as. You find women these days putting themselves out there, So because of that, one is able to identify with how, okay, in these times, we are seeing how women want to be known as, okay, I'm doing something here, I'm doing something there. So there's a sense of purpose. However, in the midst of it, going back to your question, when I had that issue then and I went back to God, God told me something. He said, see, your husband is not your source, I am. So I understand, though. I understood then and I understand now. And this should serve as a source of encouragement to women out there, married, not married, divorced, single, separated. God is your source. Don't ever rely on anybody. Your emotions are your emotions. But the truth is there is only one person who can take all that in, and that is God. So I think that finding a spiritual balance will help women to navigate feelings like this. Go back to God and find him as your source, as he has always been, even before you were who you are today. There are other ways, though. I think one other way I would say is you should also find ways to unwind. There are ways you can. So I always tell, when people chat me up and say, oh, I'm going through, and I'm like, okay, what is it you like to do? So that one, you can find to do it for yourself. Something that makes you happy. Just spend some time doing something that makes you happy for a change. And it helps shift your focus from whatever it is you're going through.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Mrs. Agogo. Let me ask this question, Mrs. Mercy.
Okay.
How do women that are here, still trying to create balance, what should they do to create balance so that they don't find themselves sinking?
Okay. What should they do to create balance so that they don't find themselves sinking? I think it also boils down to that identity check too. You need to know yourself first and know who you are in God. For me, I always like to talk from a point of experience.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
You see this book of the Bible, John 10:10, the thief comes to steal, kill, and to destroy. I've known it all my life growing up in the church. We always know. So all we've always known is thief coming to steal money, coming to, you understand? That's the idea we have. So one very good day, I was doing my devotion, and then I came across this part of the Bible again. And then the Holy Spirit said, what do you think the devil comes to steal? I said, steals money, he steals your prosperity, whatever you believe in. And he said, no, your identity. I said, identity. And I paused. I said, what's the meaning of identity? He now said, when the devil steals your identity as a person, everything is gone. You understand? If the devil steals your identity, you know who you are in Christ. Do you understand? You know, I am the daughter of a king, daughter of Zion. We all know that. But when the devil comes, he doesn't go for your money. He doesn't go for your business. He doesn't attack your children. He only attacks who you are in Christ. And when that is gone, so whatever comes, you don't have a backing anymore. You understand? So you tend to lose it. And everything you've built start going down the drain. Where you're supposed to run back to, you cannot go back there anymore because you've lost your identity. Right? Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Do you understand? So for me, as a person or as a lady, check your identity. And then your identity will also navigate you to the kind of relationship you will keep. You understand? When I got married early, I'm this kind of person. I'm not a crowded person. I don't like crowds. It's not that I cannot be in the midst of crowd, but I am not a person of having friends all over. I have a small circle, very good. I prefer a very small circle. Like that's my makeup. You understand? So when I got married, my husband is thank you, the man of the people. So it affected me, and then he saw it as pride. You understand? I can actually have a discussion with you on the first day, and then right there. And I'm telling myself, no, this is not where you're supposed to be, Mercy. This person is not going my way. So I just drop you. And then when I go home, I'm telling my husband, I don't have a problem with that woman, no. I don't have a problem with that person. It's just I don't think we're actually aligning or we're going the same way. Now, that is me knowing who I am already. Yeah. Do you understand? So it doesn't mean this person is a bad person, but I already know we are not going the same way. And I don't have an issue with that. We can still be friends, we can still talk, but I know where and what to relate with. So relationship, it still boils down to you knowing who you are. You understand? Yeah. So.
Okay. So before we round up, Mrs. Agogo, what advice will you give to a woman or every woman listening to us today?
I wrote something like that. I think I wrote something down just in case I'm asked that. So generally women need to have more of mentorship situations, opportunities, conversations, But I would say that women should open up to support, spiritual, emotional support. I would say that women should open up to spiritual, because what you mentioned about people not knowing and she's dying in silence is because she's not speaking up. So I think women should be more open. There are risks of getting hurt, but I think that risks are part of life. So women should open up to emotional support and spiritual support. That's what I say.
Okay. Mrs. Mercy, what advice will you give to that woman listening to you right now?
Okay. Open up, like she said. Open up. You're not the only one who is going through whatever you're going through, or somebody has been there. You meet somebody, know yourself, you would definitely attract your kind. You understand? So open up. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel weak. Don't let them say. Like at this point in my life is let them say. That doesn't make you a weak person. You understand? So open up, speak up. You don't like what's happening, speak up. There are a lot of women out there who can help you. Speak up. And also, I also want to say the church too needs to help. If you go to any church, there are a lot of women giving and giving and giving. Please, the church needs to look into it too. Please give us.
I have a question to ask before you round up.
Okay.
Don't you think women out there want to really speak up, but just fear of being judged or fear of being labeled, is what is making them withdraw?
Yeah, that's why I said a lot of women want to speak up, but they are scared. Don't feel guilty. When I was going through my own challenge, I spoke to a lot of women. I'm this kind of person. I don't want them to think, and this is what is happening in my home. This is how my life is. As a chorister in church, I go to church and I sing, and I'm all smiling, and I'm coming, and they are seeing my family all together. I had friends in my choir who said, Mercy, I would like to be like you. I would like to have the kind of home you have, not knowing there's fire on the mountain. I am actually burning. And I'll say, be careful on what you wish. You understand? And they don't understand because I was so ashamed. But when it got to the peak, I told myself, Mercy, if you don't speak up, you're going to die here. And I started speaking out. I started telling people. At that point, I didn't want to know what anybody would say. And a lot of people judged me. Yes, coming from my same fellow kind of women too, judged me. They said, are you the only one? And marriage is like that. You have to accept it. Okay, but I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I don't want to die. I have 3 children. You understand? God has commissioned these children into my hands. I want to see them grow to become who God has said they will be. And okay, I need help. I need help, and that's why I'm coming out. You understand? It's okay. A lot of people won't understand you because they've not been in your shoes. You understand? But just speak up. The right people will come. And God will also send help for you. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mercy. Thank you, Mrs. Agogo. This has been insightful. This has been a whole lot. And I'm sure a lot of women out there have taken one or two things home. What are we trying to do? Or what message are we trying to pass to every woman out there is this: please do not feel the need to be alone. You have us, you have this community, there are so many other communities out there for women. A safe space where you can go to and where you can be heard and where you can feel support. I always say this everywhere I go to, that the best person that can understand a woman is a woman. Quote me anywhere. The best person that can understand how you are feeling at whatever level, maybe in motherhood, maybe in business, maybe career, is another woman like you. Maybe just even being a woman, if you are having, for some women that experience, these cramps in their monthly. When you call a woman and you say, this is how I'm feeling, the first thing a woman will do to you is empathize with you, because why? She understands that space, But this is not to say the men do not, don't have a place. No, this is not to say that. But a woman understands at every level, however or whichever way you are feeling. So try to speak up and don't feel alone. Please, that is the message for today. You are not alone. Try to speak out and don't try to do life alone. We were never meant to do life alone in the first place. Yeah. So we have come to the end of today's episode of Stand in the Gap, and this is why Stand in the Gap is here. We are here so you have a community where you can reach out to, where you can feel safe to speak out whatever the situation is. So however you feel, on the inside, we are here for you. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much once again.
I'll
see you.
You're welcome.
Bye.